Hello, everyone. I'm just pouring Diet Coke into my cup. There's something weird going on with Facebook today, I have to say. And I can't figure out what is going on. I hope everyone is okay and good. When I go to my Art of Dina Wakely Facebook page, it's not showing me the feed, which is very, very strange. So I'm trying to find you. In the meantime, talk amongst yourselves. All right, I think I found you. Also, we've been adding people to the Birds of a Feather class, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 10, tomorrow at the same time, is Birds of a Feather. And we've been adding everyone. And today there's this weird glitch with Facebook where sometimes it tells me that I do not have permission to add members to the group, well, after you've requested it. And we cannot figure out why. So I Googled it, as one does. And apparently this is a problem that other group admins are having. So it's some weird Facebook glitch. The way to get around it for now is that I have to friend you. And so once you're my friend, I can add you. So we don't know why it's working for some and not for others. But anyway, if you've requested to join that group and then you get a friend request from me, it's because I cannot get you added into the group unless you're my friend. So it's just such a weird thing. I cannot figure out what's going on. But like I said, when I Googled, I found people out there having the exact same problem. So it's totally weird. But on a side note, tomorrow is my third live Facebook class, Birds of a Feather. So if you want to join me, that would be great. It's only $15. Class usually takes about 3 hours. And we have tons of fun. And that's really going back to my roots. I mean, the birds are like one of the things that I was doing a long time before I joined Ranger. Caroline asks if the PDFs should be full size. Which it's up to you. If I were you, I would pull out or print them out full size because bigger is easier. Did I see one of the categories was titles Cool Beans? The group that I'm not sure. The group that I'm talking about is the Birds of a Feather group. So if you pay for that class, then the class happens in a private group. So getting people into that group was, it's just giving us weird problems today. My husband and I, anyway, like I said, when I Googled it, I saw tons of posts in the Facebook help community about it. So apparently it's not just me having this problem. So we'll figure it out. Glad to have everybody joining me. Hope you are healthy and happy and ready to play. My glass mat's a little cuckoo. I started to clean it and then I got distracted by this issue with the class additions. The deadline to pay for tomorrow's class, I mean, the earlier the better for us because then we can make sure that you're in. But I mean, I know Seth is like cutting, for his classes, he's cutting off registration just to give him some time to make sure everyone's added. Because I have a helper, my husband basically, and my son, we don't really cut off registration. So we will do our best to get you in, but just know that it's, once class starts, I can't really pay good attention to what's happening. I totally don't know who the Spotlight store is today. I was going to check that. If you're the Spotlight store, will you mention it? Oh my goodness. I feel like I don't know what day it is. Don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, it's a little crazy. Class tomorrow is the same time as the demo, 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 on the East Coast. Okay, sound good? All right, so today I thought it would be fun to play a little bit with gel mediums. And I have 2 mediums in my line. That said, if you go look at like Golden's brand, Golden's mediums that you can buy, there are dozens of them, and it's almost dizzying. Like there's GAC 500 and tar gel and you know, on and on and on of seeing you know, different kinds of mediums. So I've only got 2 in my line. So I'm watching comments, and so I'm getting really distracted. There was another comment that I just want to answer really quickly. Where was it? Oh, Lola. She says, I remember seeing your bird drawings years ago and thinking, no, I'm too intimidated to take that class, not being able to draw. So I'm very excited to take the bird class now. Yeah, I'm glad you're joining me. Listen, I can't draw. You know, I'm going to teach you how I do what I do. So, you know, it'll be super fun, and it's better than doing laundry. All right. So back to gel medium. There are tons and tons, and I'm not an expert on all of those golden mediums. Mary Beth Shaw is a golden educator. And then I think Michelle McCosh, who owns Absolutely Everything, Scrapbook and Stamps, I think she also went to the golden training. So people that have been through the golden training course are much better equipped to answer questions about those mediums. And there's all these amazing things that you can do with those golden mediums. So that said, just keep in mind that if you ask me questions about those, I'll say, I don't know, you need to talk to Michelle or Mary Beth or other people that have gone through that training. But the 2 that are in my line are ultra thick gel, and then this one's just called gel medium. I've been referring to this one as original gel. And probably because this is the first one that came out, we probably shouldn't have called it gel medium, to be fair. The subtitle is soft gel matte medium. So this is a really, really soft medium. I almost called it a glue because, of course, you can use gel mediums as glues. But it's very, very soft. It dries super clear. It is matte. So keep in mind that all glossy paints, or all acrylics are naturally glossy. And to make them matte, you have to add a mattifying powder to them, which is why some matte mediums will, when they dry, they're not 100% clear. They're not completely clear because there's a powder that's been added to make them matte, to cut down that shine of the gloss. So if you buy mediums that say gloss medium, like or gel medium gloss, those will be perfectly clear. Okay, and then mediums that have a matte in their name will have had that mattifying powder, and so they'll still dry pretty clear, but they might be just a touch cloudy. So anyway, this is the original gel medium. This is the medium that I love for anything that is book weight paper, like dictionary paper, and lighter. So my tissue, it glues great. I always say if you are getting tons of wrinkles and you're struggling with gluing collage materials, you're probably using the wrong glue. You either need a glue that is stronger or a glue that is thicker, or a glue that most likely is thinner. So this original gel is fantastic for thin paper. It's great. Why can't we use glue instead of gel medium? You can. However, gel medium will be flexible. It will be non-yellowing, and it will resist cracking and things like that. So, I mean, gel medium will be an artist quality product versus regular gel. But PVA, I mean, PVA glue that a lot of bookbinders use, that's essentially a gel medium, right? Paint is glue. Acrylic paint is glue. And if you haven't figured that out, you've never glued pages together. Okay. So, gel, and there's so many more uses for gel medium. I'm just trying to get this plastic off. I just opened this jar. There's so many more uses for gel medium than just a glue as well. I had another point about that question, and it went out of my poor pea brain. I don't know. All right. So then the other glue that came out, I can't even remember when, a year or two ago, is ultra thick gel. So this original gel is so great for thin papers. And then this thick one, I call it a glue stick in a jar. This has tons and tons and tons of body in it. So if I'm gluing fabric in the journals, or if I'm gluing anything heavier than book paper, this is the glue that I use. And you can really see the difference in the viscosities. That this one is thick, and the ultra thick gel is even a little bit gritty. Okay, so this will glue on buttons and things like that. Remember, the dry times of my gels they dry like how fast paint dries. So they're not going to be super fast drying. Tim has this medium called Collage Medium. It's a really good glue. That stuff dries really quickly. I needed a glue that had or gel medium that had forgiveness in it, because I like to change my mind. So that's kind of the difference in these two mediums. But everything that we do today can be done with either one of these or any gel medium that you have. Okay. So we all know that you can use these as a glue. Okay. They're artist quality, flexible, non-cracking. They play well. These will for sure play well with other acrylic mediums. The other few things that I like to do with these are achieving transparent effects. And in fact, Sandra Wilson, who is a really talented, cool artist, let me grab her book. She wrote this book called Acrylic Painting for Encaustic Effects. So it's wax-free techniques. Her name is Sandra Duran Wilson. She teaches, and I've never had a class from her, though I'd like to, but she wrote this whole book, and it's essentially how to use mediums to get different funky encaustic wax look techniques, and they're all done with gel mediums. Okay, I mean, an entire book of different techniques for using those gels, which use. If you don't have the exact one that she's asking for, you can see if what you have works, and then you can always add more. But I find in general, for my simple needs, that these two work fine for me. But if you're interested in playing more, yeah, Sandra's awesome. So this is one of, I think she's written a couple different books. She's really talented, especially when it comes to incorporating textures and acrylic textures into pieces. So if you're a texture person and that just really appeals to you, definitely check her out. I have a few other acrylic books that I just want to show you. So these also, Acrylic Revolution by Nancy Rayner. This has lots of different acrylic techniques. Many of them have to do with using different mediums in addition to your acrylics, so gel mediums. Okay, so Acrylic Revolution is fun, and then Rethinking Acrylic by Patty Brady. She is highlighting different artists in this book, and then also talking about techniques. This is an artist here that uses skins in his painting. So I know a lot of you would ask sometimes when I would say, oh, look, I pulled a skin up. And people were like, well, then what do you do with it? Well, here's a fine artist who is using skins to make portraits. Isn't that amazing? Like he is purposely making skins, and then he is cutting them and preparing them and putting them right in his paintings as a textural element. So there are lots of different options here. So I quite enjoy this book as well, for different ideas to use for your mediums if you really feel like really pushing your acrylics. That said, I tend to be a simple creature. All right, so transparent effects. So one of the things that you can do, and that I learned this from Sandra, is if you have some of your gel medium out, and I just put a little bit here, I'm actually going to add a dab of lemon. And tiny dab of blue. Actually, that's turquoise peacock. And I'm going to mix that up with a palette knife. So I just want to I'm creating another paint, right? I'm creating another paint. But because of the addition of the gel medium, I'm increasing its body. Isn't that pretty? I'm increasing its body, and I am increasing its ability to hold texture. And I'm increasing its transparency. So there's a pretty green. Let's do another one. I'm going to add cheddar to this one so it looks a little more like beeswax. So you know, and if you ask me about proportion, I'm going to be like, huh? Proportion is math. Oh my gosh, I've been studying all my dive physics for my dive exam coming up. Even doing formulas. I feel like I'm back in college. All right, so now I've got a little bit of green. I have a little bit of cheddar mixed with the medium, and let's mix one with original gel. Again, the difference is going to be the viscosity. Let's see, let's mix a blue on its own. And I'm not paying close attention right this second to comment, so if you've asked something and I haven't answered, just give me a sec and then you can ask it again in a minute. Can you see the difference on, oh, it's not even showing you. Let me move this over. Can you see the difference here? How this one is definitely more soft and more fluid, this blue, and it's than the one that I did with the thick gel. I'm not sure if that's coming up in the broadcast, but this one, because I used original gel, is much, well, softer and thinner, and I wouldn't say more transparent, but it almost seems that way. And then these ones are the ones that I mixed with the ultra thick. Okay, so this, you can see how this ultra thick is really holding the body. I mean, on this one here, I have peaks. I can literally I can sculpt it. I could sculpt that one if I want to, okay? All right, let me move the camera back. So now, if I want to create something with different effects, I'm going to grab a substrate. What I want to do is I even want to do something with a paint layer already there. So this is a page that it looks like I tore out of a Dilutions journal a long time ago. All right. And then I want to maybe glue some text down there. So I'm just going to glue some tissue. And these are little bits I was playing with yesterday. I was making I'm trying to make more tag bags for you guys. And so I was spraying and making tags and doing all kinds of nonsense yesterday. So I've got little scraps of tissue floating around all over the place. And so that's, oh, there's half a face. Cool. Let's put the other half up here. All right. That's how I feel. Not all together. It's really true. I was thinking about this process of being at home and adjusting and thinking, I think I'm more adjusted than I was before, but I still have a general all over kind of feeling of malaise. I have not been shipping the tag bags overseas at this point, just because I have to fill out customs forms for that, and then it costs me a ton of money. The tag bags, I don't know how you get notified. I posted them on, I posted the tag bags on my Art of Dina Wakely. Well, I posted a link, and then I posted a link to my website, and then, I kid you not, in 7 minutes, 20 of them were gone. And then a lot of people were sad and mad, and then I deleted the post because I don't really want to read how much I've disappointed you all. So it's just gonna, at this point, it's gonna be kind of lucky. All right, so I'm just wiping a bit of magenta paint on there. So I've got more foundation paint happening. All right, so now if I want to add some of these paints over here that I've mixed with gel medium, they're going to have a different visual quality to them. They're going to be a little more transparent, and they're going to let me continue to layer with tints. Tint, T-I-N-T, tints. All right, so let's layer some of the, it's probably not going to show up really great, but because this is a little bit of pigment submerged in this adhesive and in this medium, it's going to take on a floating quality. So as I keep layering pieces in, it's going to just feel a little floaty. And then if you do thick layers of the gel, and I mean thick, and let it dry, that gel medium turns transparent, the pigment remains, and then it does look like you've put a layer of wax on there. So in a way, it's just a way of getting more visual effects out of your acrylic than just standard painting it straight on. And sometimes when you water down acrylic, and my acrylic I feel like you can water down really well. My acrylic takes a fair amount of water, but after a while, if you water down acrylic too much, you lose its pigment load. And I find that when you mix it with gel instead of watering it down, you're not really diluting the pigment load in quite the same way. See how the original gel is much more transparent, and just because of the viscosity of it? But all of these transparent layers are starting to play with each other here. And it just starts to look interesting. So it's kind of just something to play with. So transparent layers are just one of the advantages to playing with gel mediums and your paints and your pigments. Isn't that pretty? I mean, I don't know really what it is. I'm just messing around. Now I'm going to swipe on some of this really thick green that I mixed. I'm going to swipe it on and not make it flat, because that ultra thick gel in combination with my already heavy body paint, it just creates, like I said earlier, almost a sculptable swipe of medium. It's almost like I can get, think of it as carvable, maybe is a better way to describe it. And I can come in and make marks right in that, and that gel medium will hold those. So if you want it to be even stronger, even more heavy bodied than my heavy body paint alone, that's when you would mix that ultra thick in there. Caroline asked a question that what is the paper that half oval came from? That was a cut up journal page. So I was cutting, see how I cut a bunch of these half ovals out of a journal page just to use for collage. So if you have the collage collective, just cut the collage collective. I like that there too. Cut it into some shapes to use as your collage. So that's what this is. This is just it's a piece of collage paper, right? I'm gonna hold this up, and you can see the relief, the thickness that those transparent layers have. So it's thick, and then it's also got this sheen, or got this transparent quality to it because it's mixed with the gel. What was the white you wrote with? I didn't write with anything actually. It was the end of a paintbrush. You mean the white on this? I'm not sure. So clarify that for me and I will answer the question better. The white on this is probably a paint pen. This is an old journal page, like I said, that I cut up. And then that's delicious with its different layers and textures. And then it will, like this transparent area here, I think is my favorite one. I scraped it with the end of the brush. It's graffito essentially. All right, so let's set that aside. So transparent effects are the first thing that you can play with your gels. Mix them with your paint. I think half the time we only use gel as glue, and I'm guilty of that. I really will just be like, oh, this is my glue for thin paper, and this is my glue for thick paper, and then we forget that, the reason that there's gel medium is to get other effects from your artwork, and to, you can even make your paint go further. You can work like this. Just don't think. No thinking, only doing. Now, I think this still needs another focal point, personally, but let's let that dry. All right. Now I want to keep playing with that. But I just want to fondle it because all of those transparent layers are giving me an interesting visual quality. Super like it. All right, cool beans. What's an average number of transparent layers you like? Oh, don't ask me about numbers. I don't know. Yes. I wish I wish I were a little more number oriented, but I'm just the worst. Fiona says, I use gel medium through stencils, sprinkle embossing powder on it, heat and bubble. Oh, that's fun. That's really cool. All right, so transparent layers. Also, gel medium is a fantastic resist, and it's a resist when you want to see what's underneath. So many of you have seen me do gesso resist, where I'll paint gesso shapes on something or through a stencil, and then you paint over it, and then the paper that's not been gessoed absorbs the paint differently than the gessoed portions. Well, of course, you can do the same thing with gel, and the benefit of using a gel medium is that if I painted gesso on this, can you see that I have gel medium circles on there? They're dry, and this was original gel. So I painted, before we started, took the original gel medium and I just did some circles on this piece of watercolor, okay? And if I would have done gesso there, then the gesso's blocking the view, right, of what's underneath. But the gel medium is going to be a window to what's underneath. And so now I can paint over it. And I'm going to get these little areas of resist. Now, keeping in mind that paint will stick to gel medium, so if I paint full strength white paint over this, then I'm not going to have any resist whatsoever. I need to water down or just use a wet brush is what you need to do. Use a wet brush when you paint over it, or mix that paint with a little bit of original gel, I guess. But, so now I've got thin paint happening here, and I'm going to brush it over, and the paint is going to stick to the areas differently, and I can let that dry for a second, and then I can wipe off the top of all of that paint that has gathered in on those circles. And then my background, actually that was not the best color because it's too like the background. Let me try a different one. Let's do pink. Pink, pink, we stink. I love pink. All right. La, 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 la. All right. So basically, when you're putting gel medium down first, you're creating a non-absorbent background. So sometimes you might like the background to not be absorbent, and that's just so that your paint puddles and pools. It's not really wanting to come off, is it today? My problem is my gel medium wasn't totally dry. Oops. Let's spray it a bit. There we go. Now it's happening for me. You got to let your gel medium dry before you do that, in theory. But you know, in Dina land where I live, I'll just go. And then as it dries, it'll show better. So You see that resist happening there a little bit? The thicker the gel too, the easier. So if I would have put that on really, really thick, it definitely would have been easier. And then as this dries, the light wash of paint, it's gonna fall off the raised surfaces, and it's gonna settle down in the valleys. Let's gloss spray it too. Let's see what happens. Oh yes, lover. This is how I play in the studio. I'm like, ooh, what happens if I spray over that? Ooh, yeah, that's gonna dry. That's gonna run off those relief areas. I hope. If not, it'll be a big fail. And it'll give me some interesting effects. Oh, it's working there. We'll see. It might work, it might not. And if it doesn't work, oh, it's working there. You're gonna say my favorite words. Oh well. Still better than doing laundry. Okay. If you want the whole piece to have a non-absorbent layer, create something. Here's a tag. And then paint gel over the entire thing. Let that dry, and then I'm going to get, when I paint on that entire tag, the paint's going to pool up, and see how this one's starting to pool more now? It's getting pooled up on that slick surface. But let's really coat this up. You're just going to get a different effect. Your paint's going to act differently on top of a thick layer of this medium. And you might want to do that on purpose, just for kicks, just to see what effects you get. Okay, so let's set that aside. Another fun thing you can do is paint right into the gel. Okay, I have a booby-trapped pile over here. If I pull one thing out, what might happen underneath is everything goes bye-bye. Oh, that's looking better as we speak. Kind of love it. All right, so I'm going to put a really, really thick coat of gel on this. I'm not going to paint the entire tag, just an area, but I'm going to make it thick. I'm actually going to mix heavy gel, my ultra thick, with my original, so that I've got some body there. I don't love washing gel medium out of a brush. I mean, now I've put a million brushes in my gel medium, so that's just life. I used to have a rule that I only did gel medium with a palette knife. That's how much I hate washing glue out of brushes, but sometimes you just gotta stick a brush in it. All right, so I'm buttering the bread nice and thick with a combination of original and ultra thick. It really doesn't matter which. This is gonna take forever to dry, so I might have to show this to you later. All right, so now that I've got cream cheese on the bagel, okay, that's how much I have happening here. Can you see how thick that is? Cream cheese on the bagel. I'm gonna paint directly into that layer. Let's see, I had cheddar earlier, didn't I? Yes. I had to knock off some of the sourdough, constant sourdough making I was doing, just because those entire loaves were transplanting themselves to my gut. So I put my starter in the fridge because, oh my word, I couldn't stop. I mean, I would eat like almost an entire loaf of bread. Red light food. Okay, I'm just showing this again. See how the resist is really coming up now as that water evaporates, and as the water and the loose paint is running down the mountains of the gel medium. I do not use a heat gun to dry. I don't believe in it. I think that is a waste of creative time. I also don't believe in heating plastic with a heat tool. I just don't. I don't like that at all. All right. So now right into this thick layer, I'm going to paint some little flowers. There's no forgiveness in this. But when that gel dries, it's not going to be 100% clear because my gels are matte, right? So they have that mattifying powder in them. But all of this dimension will still be there. That bit really thick gel layer, it will lighten up considerably. Isn't that pretty? And it's going to give you a really cool textural effect. So don't be afraid to paint right into a really thick gel medium layer. This is the reason we've never done something like this in class, is the time that it takes to dry. You know, in a class situation, I guess an online Facebook class would work, but you know, a situation where you've come to make art with me, and doing things like this in class, it's just not that practical of a thing unless it's the last thing you do during the day, and unless you can get it home without it falling onto your car or something like that. Just because it could very easily, I don't know, you couldn't do it in a journal and close your journal. You could, you know, you get my point, right? Dry time is the issue. Dry time's always an issue. And the way that I structure class is I usually try really hard to make it duplicatable in the time. I mean, sometimes I'll have people leave class with tons of stuff unfinished, and I just hate that. I really do. I don't like that. I prefer you to be mostly done in class. Maybe some decorating still to do or something like that. And everybody has different levels of what they want to keep adding. Some people who are doodlers want to let it dry and then doodle all over things and stuff like that, which, you know, you can always do. So I'm just adding black paint, dots of black for the centers of these little flowers. And that was Sedona, by the way, that I added to that cheddar. It was cheddar and then Sedona, and then blobs of black in the center, and then I have some leaves. I don't know if you can hear the outside. Can you hear the fighter jets? So we have Luke Air Force Base not far from here, and my house is right in their landing path. I would say the base is maybe 15 miles away, but as they prepare to come in and land, they fly right over the house, and sometimes it wakes me up at night. It's really loud. But anyway, then you go outside and you can see the jets. It's kind of cool. We get to see the fighter jets quite a bit. Alrighty. So here are really textural, painted right into that gel. And then that is going to, like I said, that big layer of gel will lighten up and lighten up. It won't be 100% clear, but it won't be quite that opaque, right? And you know, even if you think, oh, I don't know how to paint flowers, listen, you totally can paint 5 petals in a center. Right? 5 petals in the center is something that you can do. I promise. I promise it's something that you can do. Isn't that cool? Just taking a look at my non-absorbent surface tag. I would say it's about 1/3 dry for now. So the artists that are creating skins on purpose to use, what they're doing is they're taking, oh, that stuck to my crap sheet, mat. They're taking a non-absorbent surface. This is Ranger's new silicone mat. You can use your craft sheet, you can use palette paper, and instead of just pulling a skin like from the palette like I tend to do, which is just serendipitous, what they're doing is they're creating a purposeful skin. So they're purposefully applying mediums, paint. They can draw into this. And so on a surface that will release, like this silicone or palette paper or this silicone area of the glass mat, or you get the idea, right? You do something purposefully on this surface. Let it dry. Okay, so this would need to dry 100%. When this is dry, you're going to put gel medium, either the original or the ultra thick, over this entire piece and let it dry. So you're going to want to put it in as thick as I put the layer here in this tag. So very thick layer of gel on top of this. So this might be a process that takes 24 hours or more. Thick layer of gel on this dried piece here, and then when that's dry, see if you can pick it up. If you can't pick it up, you got to do one more layer of gel or two more layers. So I find that the thick gel, really thick gel, you only need one thick layer. But if you're using something really soft like my original gel, you might need to do another layer after the original one's dry. So you want this to have quite a bit of thickness to it. And then you're going to pick this whole thing up, and these paint layers will be embedded into the gel medium. And then you've got this skin that you can cut, and then to glue your skin into your work, you're going to use gel, of course, gel medium. So this, this is just a random skin that I picked off my paint palette over here. But how cool is it to do a skin on purpose and, make it pattern? I mean, you could do a stencil onto a palette, and you could basically almost create a little mixed media zhuzhing happening, and then gel over it, let it dry, pull it up, and then you've got this really funky, cool skin to play with. So think about doing that on purpose, not just kind of as a benefit of being a messy artist. Yeah, the skins will. Yeah, I mean, if you glue the skin on with the gel medium, it's there. Just use gel, and you can glue that on, right? All right. Where am I going to put this? That is the question. I do not know. Okay. I said to my kid the other day, I said to him, I was editing this video of mine, which my husband's almost done getting up on the website, by the way. And I said, I was editing this video and I was laughing because I snort all the time. And Carter goes, and I'll snort when I'm laughing on purpose and be like, but I snort when I breathe, apparently. I just figured out. And Carter goes, yeah, I knew that. You do that all the time. And I'm like, what? You never told me. All right. So I'm now taking the rest of my light blue thinned out glaze. I'm just going to glaze over. I'm calling it a glaze because essentially that's what it is. It's a transparent tint. Good way to give something a patina, right? When you glue the skin down, is it in reverse? You can glue it down either direction. It doesn't match the nail color, or my nail polish does match the nude. This isn't the usual stuff that I do. This is just regular polish, but because I broke one and thought, I'm going to take a little break from it let my nails get a bit longer again. I snore really loud too, but now I'm on a CPAP machine, so apparently I don't snore anymore. Just really cool little tints that give you these really nice translucent looks. Okay, any questions? So use gel to glue for transparent effects as resists, for non-absorbent layers. So now this here, it's not 100% dry, but now that this has a coating of gel, it's gonna speed things up. See how I'm getting the instant resist there with the gloss spray? That's because, ooh, look at the texture coming out. Oh, hello, lover. A non-absorbent layer can be really fun to play with because your paint is going to bead up. And that would have looked just like that if I would have brushed paint on. But it's going to bead up and give you really different effects and feels because it's not absorbent. You're basically sealing the paper. You're sealing your substrate. So create non-absorbent layers and then paint right into gel layers. Let that dry. I'll show this to you next time when it's dry all the way. I need to hide this so I don't ruin it. So I hope that gave you a few extra ideas. Questions, comments, things that I can answer for you today. The blacks, I used just the tube of my paint, or the bottle of paint with the lid. So I took the lid off, and then this little nozzle that's on all of my paint bottles, I just drew it around. Touched it right to the surface, drew it around. I want to keep messing with this one. Keep brushing more transparent layers on top. See how far I can push it. All right. Any other questions? Does that inspire you to play with your gel mediums a little bit? And the silicone matte came out in January, I believe. Silicone matte in January. And I've never really used it because I opened it. It's on the floor, but it's perfect for this. Hope you guys have a great Thursday. If you're joining me for class tomorrow, we will see you in class. The supply list is in the group, and really you don't need tons and tons of stuff. But would this work with gesso? What do you in replacing it with gesso? Not really. I need, Carol and I need to pop back into the group. I have been so crazy swamped. Yes, there are places in the Scribblebird class, so would love to have you there. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming watching the demos and for coming to class. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Can you use wax paper? Probably. There's no difference, Colleen. The tubes of paint and the bottles are the same. The sprays will stay on the medium. Yeah. The sprays will stay on glass. They'll stick on glass and everything. Yes, you can do glass anytime. Yep, I'm not allowed to travel to the UK. So we had to change the UK. We haven't rescheduled yet because there's still so much in the air. So we really don't know when that can happen. Yeah, we really don't know. Yeah, and like I said, if you miss class, what am I trying to say? If you miss class, the video stays up indefinitely, so you can always watch it anytime. And yes, you can mix your gels with metallics. Absolutely, absolutely, you can. Oh, happy birthday, Jessica. Happy birthday. Yeah, freezer paper is a good idea. I wonder if parchment would work because it does release a little bit. Brandy, the classes are as long as it takes. They've been about 3 hours because we work along together and I stop and talk and answer questions and give you ideas or, give you any help, and we work along together. So it's a fun time. It really is. Where are you from, Dina? Well, I'm not from anywhere because I grew up all over. Why did I get angry? Who's giving me angries? What was I going to say? Right now I live in Peoria, Arizona. Yeah, the classes remain open and up, indefinitely. So I don't plan on ever taking those classes down. So my birthday's June 6th. The same day as my scuba instructor exam. Oh, happy birthday, Colleen. Hey, I say keep the birthdays coming. I'm not one of those people that feels bad about getting older. I think, bring the birthdays on. Bring the birthdays on. Oh, happy birthday, Carol. Lots of summer birthdays coming up. Gemini, yeah. Oh, man. I'll always tell people, I'm a Gemini. Barbara, my mask is not fixed. I did order a new one, and they're going to try really hard to get it to me. So I hope I have it in time. If not, I'm going to struggle. Oh, Kelly, is your birthday, and are you a Gemini too? Yay. The scuba exam, oh my gosh. I'm seriously flashcarding formulas for figuring out surface air consumption, maximum operating depth, all of these physics. And I'm like, P2 times V2 divided by -1 divided by, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, happy birthday to your mom, Yvonne. You can do the older Facebook classes. All the art is still in there, and the videos are up in those classes. They can be taken at any time. Anytime. Okay, I'm going to put this aside so that I do not put my elbow in it. So later when I say that I cannot find this, one of you smart people are going to remind me that I put it in the cubby to my right, okay? I put it in my cubby to the right. So funny. Yeah, happy birthday, everyone. Lots of people having birthdays. No, there is no oops so well in scuba. That is a good point. You got to stay alive in scuba. Bye, everyone. When I start working for, my dive shop is SSI. So it's SSI. I'm an assistant instructor now, but I will be, I'm taking the full instructor exam. So, yeah. Our dive shop switched over from Patty to SSI. Yeah, remember that. The cubby to the right, Jillian. That is totally your job, is to remind me. And remember, class tomorrow is the online class is on Friday. Friday. Okay, online class is on Friday. Okay, Diane, you're so right. Oh. She says, remember to put your lids on. It's like you know me or something. That's all right. Being older is good. Oh, I don't know where one lid is. I'll find it. Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks. Use your gel medium. And we will see you again. If you're coming to class, see you then. Yeah, we're not stamping birds tomorrow. We're drawing birds tomorrow. So you'll be fine. All right. Bye, everybody.